Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader coming back to you to talk about the Haslab Cantina as well as some other recent sales for the vintage collection on eBay. And I apologize ahead of time. This will be my last vintage collection market update for a little while because of my travel schedule. So I wanted to get one more in. There was some pretty good data from one of my favorite Instagram accounts as it relates to Haslab projects. So we'll go through that in a second, and then also go through some recent sales for the vintage collection. I do have a new Patreon. I need to say thank you to Stu Atherton. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon. And then I also did receive 2 supers this past week that I need to say thank you for. Eric Robinson and Jim Walsh, thank you both for sending supers for videos last week. I really appreciate it. And again, I apologize ahead of time that I cannot make another vintage collection market update next week. I'm just going to be deep sea fishing. Hopefully I will have some good photos of stuff we actually caught that are not old boots. So first, let's take a look at where the Haslab project is, the Haslab Cantina. And by the time you watch this video, it's going to be terribly out of date, but I did want to at least show you, as of the making of this video, where we are. And right now, the current count is 4793, which is about 60% of the base target of 8,000 backers. And one thing that a few of you have brought up is, why did they make this Haslab project end right before SDCC? It makes no sense to not take advantage of the free press that's going to be there at SDCC. I mean, to me, you have this thing running all the way through. You show the figures or the mock-ups of the figures, how this thing could be displayed with current vintage collection offerings. I mean, it just makes zero sense to at least not run it through San Diego Comic-Con, but that's what they decided to do. I guess they got more pressing stuff they want to push at SDCC, but very weird, very weird. Okay, so Riv's Junctionite. Again, I don't know this person, but I just like the way he or she presents the data on Instagram. You can go follow their account there, but he or she did a number of different methods for trying to figure out the predicted total for the Haslab Cantina. And using all 3 methods, he gets to numbers that are well above the base level of 8,000. And I'm not going to read all of this because it's a lot. You can go to Instagram and start following Riv's Junctionite to kind of take a look. But they do a really good job of breaking it down. And he did it. I'm just going to say he for simplicity. I assume it's a he. But they looked at 3 different methods, and the first method was looking at the Rancor, the Black Series Rancor, which did not fund, but based on where things are right now, which is the green line, and he compared it to the Rancor data, which was 20% less. And so if you follow and extrapolate how the Rancor did during the Haslab project versus how the Cantina did, and basically add 20% to all the totals, that gets you to 10,250. And then another campaign that they looked at was Giant Man, which is non-Star Wars related, but again, using Giant Man, which is GM and all of this wording that he puts together, that gets you to 13,975 backers. And he says the problem with both of these projections is that they had twice as many mid-campaign doldrums when the daily backers are minimal. And the problem, as he rightly points out, is that the Cantina campaign is a little bit shorter, and there's only really 17 days where the Cantina can have these doldrums, whereas the other ones, they had, way more of a longer time frame. So it's worth pointing that out. And again, points back to what I was talking about with the SDCC coming up. Why not have it run through SDCC at a minimum? But that's what they chose to do. Final thoughts, lots of uncertainty here, but I feel very confident we'll get the Cantina. If the Giant Man campaign is a better model, we get Greedo and maybe Nabrun. If the Rancor is the better model, but it's not, and I agree with that because it didn't fund, right? We might miss Greedo. He doesn't see any scenario where they get the final SCOIS, or however you pronounce that last weird Cantina Aliens card back, even if I model on the wildly successful Razor Crest. And I think that kind of goes back to my point in last week's videos that probably unlikely that you get all of them. And a lot of you guys got mad at me for that, saying, hey, you're crazy, and hey, these are not going to be readily available for resale on eBay. That's fine if you feel that way. I mean, I'm just looking at it analytically, that I don't see this thing doing Razor Crest or even ghost numbers. It's just, again, a very niche kind of product, and there's a lot of people that don't have the display space for something like this, and it's pretty pricey. So I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right. And again, I'm not trying to criticize the Cantina by any means. If it's your thing, then go for it. I just personally don't see this thing doing the large number of units. And maybe that bodes well to what a couple of you were saying, that, hey, there's not going to be nearly as many of these out there. And the card backs for the characters that are included in this, even in the tier unlocks, they're not kind of repackaged items like the Mandalorian and the Jawa Elder were, or Grogu. So maybe they will command big money on the secondary market long term. I don't know if that's the case or not. I mean, certainly they are really cool ones. They're definitely way cooler than even the Katana Sail Barge pack-in of the Yak Face. I think they're arguably cooler than the Rebels team. So I think personally that they will come down in price. They're going to be expensive early on, but I don't see them doing like Jar Jar in Carbonite prices, or the Mouse Droid or Salacious Crumb type prices. I just don't see that happening, because they're newer and because people understand now that there are people that'll want them. And I do think that there will be a lot of these on the secondary market. Maybe the price is high. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, that's enough about that. But, I just wanted to share some thoughts as it relates to projections from Riv's Junctionite, because I think he does a good job. Here was a beautiful unpunched Obi-Wan Kenobi VC-16. That one did sell for $300. Power Droid always has a lot of really nice TVC 1.0, either graded or ungraded, and tough to find that one unpunched, but that one did sell for $300. Here is a foil General Grievous. Always desirable, $120 on that one. It wasn't perfect. It did have some edge wear to it, so keep that in mind. But I thought that was worth pointing out as a recent sale. Clone Commander Cody, there were a couple of different sales for this one. Both of them punched. And this is the retail release with the rocket-firing Boba Fett offer on the front. That one sold for $135, which is kind of in line with market. And then here was another beauty that sold for $150. So that gives you a pretty tight price range if you're looking for that one. This one did have scratches on the back of the card there, probably from where it was hanging on the tab at retail. So this one was not perfect by any means, but that one did sell for $150. This one sold for $135. So if you're still looking for a punched Clone Commander Cody, there you go. Unpunched, there is one from, I believe, Power Droid, this seller, that's on eBay right now. I think he wants big money, though, $600 for it. So last I checked, that was still available and still for sale. But both of those Clone Commander Codys that were punched did sell for $135 to $150. Kit Fisto, here was another beautiful unpunched Kit Fisto. That one sold for $125. We've talked about that one lately and how it's come back down to earth a little bit. That one got really expensive last year, unpunched VC29, but that one did sell $125. Here is a dark blue saber VC44 Luke Skywalker Dagobah Landing. Always desirable, easier to find darker saber version. That one still sold for $155. That's a big number relative maybe to a few others that have sold here recently, but it did look very, very clean. Hard to tell if that's just, I think it's just a reflection from the star case there, but definitely an unpunched example, and definitely one of my favorite card backs in the TVC 1.0 line. I wanted to point out Dr. Evanson, since I figured more of these would be listed for sale given the Cantina Haslab project. And this one did sell in an auction for $52.56, basically the same. I didn't really see much in the way of a jump in Dr. Evison, but, obviously people need him to complete the Cantina diorama. And just a great looking card image there. He kind of looks like me, if we're being honest here. It looks like me after a really bad day at the gym. I just want to go back to bed. 52.56 on that one. And then here was another one for Ponda Baba, punched example. And again, Dr. Evison, that one was an unpunched example. Those two together sold for $105.99, which is not a terrible deal. I see some unpunched Ponda Babas go for, $125 to $150 pretty easily. So not a bad deal for both of those together for $106 plus $9 shipping. Here was the original issue Republic Trooper character debut card, unpunched expanded universe. That one sold for $110, free shipping. Not a terrible deal there as well. Here is a rare Miscard. I did not see this get listed. Otherwise, I certainly would have sent it out to you guys. But this was a Chewbacca on a Lando Calrissian from the Solo Star Wars series movie, Miscard. And pretty cool to see that one sell. That one sold for $180. And it also included 4 Mimban Stormtroopers as well as the Din Djarin in the disguise. So that was a really good deal, I feel like. $180. And probably underpriced, quite honestly. I would think that was probably worth $180 by itself. But you also get these that you could resell pretty easily and get your money back. So somebody got a really good deal on a factory error Miscard. Again, it's a VC-139 Solo Star Wars series Lando card with Chewbacca on it. So that is a really cool Miscard for $180. Some graded items before we wrap up this video. I know it's kind of short. I apologize, but I had to kind of make this video before I headed out of town. And again, next week, no vintage collection market update. I promise I'll come back with one when I get back into town. But this was an AFA 8.5 VC 14 Sand Trooper, and you can see there it says VC backs collect text. So again, I don't know what that means. I assume it's some kind of variation to the back of the card, and it could be like just something random that I'm not aware of. But see, VC backs and then collect text. So it has to be something to do with the description on the back of the card. I don't know, but anyway, AFA has got, they have so much knowledge as it relates to these weird variations, very subtle variations, that they apparently must have found some small variation on the VC-14. And maybe for those of you that know what they're talking about here, you can chime in the comments as you're leaving me a like. But I was not aware of any kind of US VC-14 text variation, but apparently AFA does note something, and that one did sell in an auction for $62, which is not a bad deal, just given what it costs to send it to AFA to be graded and then get it returned, plus the actual grading cost. So $62 is basically grading costs, if not below that. Next up, same seller had an AFA 8.5 Expanded Universe ARC Trooper Commander on the US card, unpunched. That one sold for $130.49, which again, that's not really that much more than what this one can go for ungraded. I see this one all the time sell for $125, so that was a good deal there. This seller, Disruptor, is a channel supporter, so full disclosure there. But I wanted to point out a few of his sales, and go check him out on eBay. He always has nice high-grade modern items for sale that are AFA graded. And he had this Figure and Dan and the Modal Nodes multi-pack graded uncirculated 9.0 gold level. That one sold for $250, big number there, but that really displays nicely in the AFA case. I just love the box art on that one. So again, go check out Disruptor on eBay. They also had the Return of the Jedi 4-pack exclusive, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce this Jabba's goon name, Skiff-Guard's name, but uncirculated 9.0 gold level on that one. That one sold for $190. And then he also had the Velkin Taziri, uncirculated 9.0. And again, that one's from the Return of the Jedi 4-pack. So go check out Disruptor on eBay. He didn't ask me to do this. I just am doing it because he's a channel supporter, and I like to help out those that support my channel. And beautiful items there. So uncirculated 9.0, that one did sell for $190. I hope you enjoyed this look at recent sales. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.